5th, 2024 council meeting in the city of Crescent Springs. We will start with pledge and the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Lord, we thank you for bringing us here today. Keep the good of the city in our hearts at all times as we work through this. Make our conversations fruitful, meaningful, and polite. And through your Son's name, we ask this. Amen. Roll call, please.
Carol McGowan. Here. Bill Schultz.
Here.
John Kylie.
Here.
Brian Barclay.
Here.
Janine Bell Smith. Here. Mark Wurtenberger.
Here. Thank you very much. You all should have seen for receiving your packets the minutes from the February 26, 2024 council meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
You know, I did get feedback from this Anna McFarland about the issue of changing the minutes if they've already been approved. And I sent the copy to Mr. Baker and Mr. Deal. I got one today. I can send you another one. I actually checked her in last night and she got back to me early this morning. And she said that you could do that, and she cited the Robert's Rules of Order, the new edition, and Mike Daly or Mr. Baker can discuss that, because I did send them copies, so that according to what she had to say, that it was correct.
Okay, you can certainly send that to me, and
I will.
And
Okay.
I'm not familiar with who she is or what knowledge she may have, so at this point, I refrain from any further comment on it, but that's what I have a counselor here for.
And I know I sent that to Mr. Baker.
And I will look at it.
Thank you, and Mr. Daly, you received it too?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, and I will send you a copy also.
Thank you.
you.
Any other discussion about the February 26 minutes? Roll call, please.
Carol McGowan.
Yes.
Bill Schultz.
Yes.
John Kylie.
Yes.
Brian Barclay.
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith.
Yes.
Mark Wurtenberger.
Thank you very much. Mayor's report, I have one thing. The spring Easter egg hunt had a beautiful day this weekend. I did drive past it. I had another commitment, but drove past towards the middle of it. The place is packed. Special thanks to April Robinson and the Public Works Department for setting things up on Friday. April's all her works and time to go into that, so we appreciate a job well done, and I'm sure the kiddos loved it. That's all I have. Chief Wentz.
Good evening. Hope everybody got their report in their package. 39 fire calls for February. 90 year to date, 97 ambulance calls, 195 year to date. The job ads for the 8 firefighters and paramedics went out today. We have a return date of April 15th. What we're going to do is create an eligibility list, much like Cincinnati, Covington, and Lexington does. So what will happen is we will rank the employees by the interview process, who we think are the top candidates. Number 1 on the list will get offered the job first. They will come off the list. That list will stay active until we fill all 8 positions.
You have a committee doing that, correct?
We do. So the committee is going to be the ALS captain, ALS lieutenant, a fire assistant chief, and a regular firefighter will be the interview committee. And then I will go over their selectees, and we'll make a decision from there.
Where could we see the job ad? I don't see it on the website, but
It's on Facebook right now. I can email it to you if you want, or we can get it on. We can even put it on the city website.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Okay.
Thanks.
We applied for a FEMA Assistance to Firefighter grant application, $488,000 for turnout gear and new air packs. Our air packs are coming up on 15 years old. They will no longer be useful in about 2 years. So it's time to start either asking the government for them or come up with another way ourselves to pay for them. We also, the SAFER grant, and what SAFER is hopefully gonna pay for our 8 new firefighters, but we asked for, almost $900,000 for SAFER. That grant is not due until April 12th, and we will not hear back at the earliest, maybe August, September, October, something around there. And, I think that's all I have.
Anything else from the fire authority meeting or anything that we need to discuss while the chief's here?
Not as pertains to the fire department, I don't think. I mean, we talked about the recording, we sat, fire authority, we sat down and went over what Mr. Daly had provided and what the city's doing and the cost and outlay, all the financials out of to broadcast and record the meetings, and decided that unless the cities decide that they want to push the issue, that we will not be moving forward with suggesting that recording and broadcasting the meetings, they're open meetings. And then the benefits package, I believe that's probably in the ad, but it's gonna be pretty much identical to the Village Hills Police Department benefits. There's a couple small deviations, but
Okay.
for the most part, right online. And then hoping that we get into that pool. If we don't get into that pool, then we've gotta go quickly to find an alternative, but we'll be able to make it work.
I think the biggest difference is that we're not entering into the CERS. We will pay 1% higher match on the 401k in a private pension system, which is more attractive to new employees than what the current CERS is. That, and we will offer, if you do not take our health benefits, we will offer a monthly stipend to not take it, which is a little bit different.
Great.
Yeah, I can't find where it's posted on Facebook either, so if you could send a link. to that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
I did see it earlier, but that, I did not read it, but I saw it was out there.
It might be me.
It may have been on the fire department since I was.
It is, it's not on the public page, but
Okay.
I will, I'll send it out to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Chief Hall is unable to attend this evening. You all should have received his report in your packets. If there's any questions for the chief, please email him, let him know, and he'll get back to you very promptly. He had a family obligation and could not make it.
We can't put Officer Black on the spot, that's good.
We can, but both Sergeant Black and Chief might not make it.
They could have given him a raise, a new schedule, and a few other.
Well, maybe he would like it then. Thank you all very much. City Administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I have about 4 items I'd like to discuss, pretty simple. First one's the playground grants updates. The reason I went ahead and I listed this so it was fresh in our minds, it does list the specifics of the 3 grants that have been applied for, and obviously with the number of the funding that is listed for each grant itself. There were 2 things I just wanted to bring up, and it's not on your report. Is number 1, there's 3 grants here. We have a lot of moving parts here, and we're gonna need to be very, very patient as a group going forward on when these grants either A, get accepted or do not get accepted. Obviously, we've heard back from the Land and Water Conservation Funds grants, but we still have to wait on that final letter that says, yes, you can move forward. We do not know when that's gonna be. It could be a month, it could be 5 months. It's a federal grant that's obviously under the umbrella of the state, and we're just gonna have to be patient with it. So we do not have a definite answer on, when we can move forward on obviously ordering the equipment and installing the equipment. And I just wanted to make sure everybody here on council is understanding of that. So there's no confusion with that.
And just to be more concrete, like, there's a possibility, it could be until August, for example,
Yes, sir.
until we can even do anything with the park.
Yes, sir. And with that same thing, Bill, is with the finance committee, obviously there's a good chance whatever was listed in this current budget is gonna be pushed to the 24-25 budget. So,
Which if some of the other, I think you're probably gonna say in a minute, some of the other grants move quicker, could be advantageous.
yes,
Right.
yes, you are right, thank you.
But wait, which ones can we double dip with? That's what I don't understand.
None.
Okay, so then.
Not within the same fiscal year.
Well, we can't submit the same cost to any of the grants. Like the rubber grant, we can't submit that to land and water conservation if we take advantage of the rubber grant. They have to be completely separate.
Okay.
So can you bifurcate 500 minus 165, what's that? 335 then to the land and water, and then some, like, what, I guess, what are we getting at? Like, what are you trying to say? Are we just gonna wait for the land grant, or I really don't know how you're trying to
I think
play
we
it
should
if
wait
the
for
two
all
say
three
yes.
of them. We should wait to hear back from all three of them. Like I said, it's like a puzzle. We gotta wait for it to come together.
Okay, but that's my question. So if you wait for the third one and you get 50%, then doesn't that negate the 1 and 2?
No, they can all be accepted.
They can all be accepted, we just have to carve out,
Okay,
The
so then my
two
question is
items.
335.
yeah, the two items from the land and water conservation grant, if we take advantage of the first two grants.
Yeah, so then you take 500 less than 165, and that would be submitted to land and water.
Correct.
What about the 25? Is that
That would have to be carved out as well.
okay? So then it's 500 less 25 less 165.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
The one thing here to clarify, the sheet says that the total cost of 165.6 for the rubber, that is true. But the amount that we would get in reimbursement would be 115,500.
75%.
And then the Christopher Reeve Quality of Life grants are 100%, yes?
We have to pay $1.
Okay. Okay, so if we get the first two grants, we might reduce the total amount submitted to Land and Water Conservation Funds grant because it's the least
Correct.
percentage reimbursement.
Correct.
How does the vendor feel about waiting? Everything's fine?
We have a great relationship with him. Director Miller has developed a great relationship, and all three of us have talked to Josh from time to time, and he is all about working with the city and trying to make this project happen. He's excited about it.
So the install is also pushing with the finances.
Yes.
We need to find out when the grants come in before we can do the install.
Especially the big one. Basically, worst case scenario, short of the federal government closing this program or something, is we wait a long time and we get 245,000. There's multiple other best case scenarios where that grant comes earlier and or other grants come in earlier, we can carve out certain parts and start sooner and all that.
No, I don't think, because this is still, if you're waiting on that third one at all, you can't start.
Well, I think what April was saying was that, for example, we could go do the rubber part and then go back to the.
But doesn't rubber last in the installation process?
Right, that's
No.
what
Oh,
the.
okay,
So you're,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we gotta wait for the federal one.
And the last item I wanted to bring up under this is, I just wanted to say thank you to April Robinson, our city clerk, city treasurer, and Director Tanya Miller. Both of them have done fantastic work on all three of these items. Their attention to detail and the time they put in has put our city in a very good position for the playground moving forward. And just wanted to say thank you guys. Great job, keep it up. The second thing is the Sons of the American Revolution. This was mentioned in my last report. Basically, it's gonna be a memorial bench. I did send an email out, if you guys need to look at it again, I can pass it around, but it had the pictures attached, kind of giving you an example of what the memorial bench would be like. The engraving will be the following: Simon Kenton Chapter, Sons of the American Revolution, in memory of our patriots. I have spoken to Director Miller, and we think we have an idea of where it will go within the park, and it's the path leading down to where the Kenton County Veterans Memorial is located. There's a good spot right there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Director Miller.
The only thing that I didn't see in any of it, I might have missed it, are the dimensions of the bench itself. Like,
I don't have that offhand. I mean, I don't think I even received that specifically, but I can try to get that for us if you would like. The next item is the Charters of Freedom dedication ceremony. Just so everybody knows, this is something that's been a long time coming. There were several things that interrupted the ceremony that maybe could have taken place a few years back. But recently I spoke with the officials from the Charter of Freedom regarding scheduling the actual dedication. We have not had an actual dedication for this site. We have scheduled it for Sunday, May 5th, 2024 at 2 p.m. Obviously, it's on our city calendar already. We will get information out to the area, our residents, and obviously everybody here is invited to attend. As everybody knows, the late mayor of Blue Hartfield was the person to guide this project at our city park many years back. And basically, like I say in there, the ceremony represents the official handing over of the Charters of Freedom to the actual city and to the community, is the way they say it. On your second page, kind of started working on an agenda with the officials from the Charters of Freedom, and I'm not going to go through that word by word or bullet point by bullet point, but it's listed there, kind of laying out what the program looks like. And the program could last around 45 minutes. The Charters of Freedom officials, they will handle the publicity part of it, and they will handle pretty much the entire agenda part of it. And lastly, the Crescent Springs Z21 process. We have a virtual meeting this week on Wednesday, the 27th at 3 p.m. And we are getting close to the conclusion of that entire process. That's all I have. I did send out an email earlier. It's obviously, I mentioned it's in Director Miller's report regarding a house, and I'll let you talk about that, regarding a new home that's going to be built on Western Reserve Road. But it is going to be, the road will have to be shut down because of utilities being installed, whether it be the water district. I don't think it's completely, but I'll let you talk about that. I think it's in your report.
Mike, one of the times when I saw you up at the park, we were looking at some of the docks that were on display, and the cases themselves were deteriorating.
Yes, ma'am.
Has anything been done about that?
We are actually working on that. I sent many, many pictures to Charters of Freedom Association group. They are surprised that it looks that way, and they want it to look top notch for the ceremony. So they are going to fix it and replace it, or obviously form some type of, magic on it to try to get it up the part in that.
All right, thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Daly? Director Miller?
Good evening, thank you. I just have a few things. I'll start off with the 731 Western Reserve. The homeowner there is building a home. So we will have the Northern Kentucky Water District will have flagged traffic in about 4 to 5 weeks there. So you'll be able to get through, but it'll just be a slow go. And then as soon as I get a schedule from Adam Reed at SD1, they have to shut the road down due to the fact that they have to transfer the sewage from one end or one side of the road to the other side. So that is going to be a good 8 to 12 hour shutdown, but he says that he will give me a 2 or 3 week ahead of schedule. That way we can make sure everybody is aware of the shutdown.
So one thing I said to Mr. Daly about that is that the fire department has to absolutely be looped in on that, because
Yep.
the fact that they're using Western Reserve for ingress and egress, you know, a 2-week notice is great, but morning of, someone needs to go knock on the door and say, it's really happening today.
Okay,
Is there any chance that we can request that shutdown be overnight versus during regular business hours? I mean, school buses use it, it's one of the, becoming one of the busier streets that's not named Buttermilk in the city.
I'm not sure if they have night work, but I can ask. I'll ask him.
Thank you.
Barry and I went to the safety conference where we both got CPR certified, and this week we took our defibrillators over to the firehouse so they could be checked for us, and they offered to give the other 2 full-time people a CPR class as well. The Grandview Buttermilk update, the curbs have been repaired. The blacktop will be night work. So as soon as the plant fires back up and the nights are a little bit warmer, they'll start that process. The Squire Hill concrete project, as of today, all the concrete has been poured. They just have to come in and do some little tidy up stuff, and it should be done by the end of the week. So we've rehired our seasonal positions, so you'll see the same crew, mowing crew, and parks crew, as well as you did last year and the year before. We met with the soccer club just because the contract for the soccer field is 2014, I believe, so we're trying to come up with a new new contract for the soccer field. So we just did the first phase where we just had a meeting, and we'll keep you updated from that. The snow truck replacement, I did get one quote from a company yesterday, and the quote is $109.58.80. So I did take this and I looked at the trucks that we bought in the past in 2011 and in 2016, and the price is gradually going up. And
109,000?
yes,
Does that include the snow package and
The snow-
everything we need?
yes, sir, yes. So in 2010, let's see, in 2011, it was 65,000, and in 2016, it was 75,000, and then 2024, it's 109.
And that's a new blade and everything?
Yeah, so it'll be the whole total package, it will be,
Blade or bumper?
yes,
Okay.
Yep.
And then,
that's the computer system inside, everything to control it too.
so we're taking one out of service, that'll be listed, do we have any ballpark of what we could get for the truck? to,
That truck has
offset?
already been,
Oh, that truck's
already been bid out,
Okay.
yep.
Okay, thanks.
This, Sons of the American Revolution bench,
Yes.
that's like zero maintenance for your team, right?
Yeah, so we normally don't maintenance anything. They usually come in and clean them themselves. The only thing that we would do, is give them the area that they can put it in.
Okay, it was just weed eat, right?
Oh, yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
mowed
String
around.
trim.
If you're familiar with the red bench, so if you're leaving the 911 and going to the vet on the sidewalk, there's a red bench, so it'd be in that pathway. Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to the municipal orders, I have 2 other things under the mayor's report that I failed to mention. One, late today, April emailed me that the street signs have been sold
Yeah.
for $220
Wow.
to someone out of Central City, Kentucky.
Iowa.
Central City, Iowa?
Yeah,
Oh.
and that's why I'm hoping that they realize there's no shipping.
More
So-
to come, but
Yeah, more to come.
and then the other thing is that since our May meeting is on Monday, the 27th, which is Memorial Day, And I realize everybody's schedules changes and it's kind of, early to say, do we know of any reason why we couldn't have a quorum on the 28th, which is a Tuesday, and do a special meeting then for any city business that might be there, including budgetary time?
Works for me.
Should work.
Okay, so we'll make the special meeting, May 28th.
Is that the meeting that will also have the public hearing for, oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself, I
Yeah.
apologize.
So now, under old business, municipal order 2024-7, an interlocal agreement with the Housing Authority of Covington.
Thank you, Mayor. Municipal Order 2024-7, a municipal order of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, authorizing the mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the Housing Authority of Covington, Kentucky regarding management oversight of housing choice voucher program. Whereas the City of Crescent Springs has entered into an interlocal agreement with the City of Covington to manage oversight of the Housing Choice Voucher Program, formerly known as Section 8 HCV program, since 1983. And whereas the City of Covington is transferring management oversight of the HCV program to the Housing Authority of Covington, Kentucky, a municipal housing authority, a public body organized under KRS Chapter 80, HAC. And whereas HAC requested all participating cities now enter into a new interlocal agreement so that the program can be administered by HAC effective July 1, 2024. And whereas HAC cannot provide services outside of the boundaries of the City of Covington, Kentucky, without the consent of other cities, including the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky. And whereas the interlocal agreement is essentially the same as the agreement that Crescent Springs has had with the City of Covington since 1983. And whereas the City Council and the Mayor have determined that maintaining the HCV program on a countywide basis is in the best interest of the residents of Crescent Springs, saving resources that would otherwise need to be expended. Now therefore be it ordered that by the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that the Mayor is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, an interlocal agreement with the Housing Authority of Covington, Kentucky, along with other cities in Kenton County, Kentucky, to authorize the Housing Authority of Covington, Kentucky, to manage the Housing Choice Voucher Program within the city limits of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky.
As we know, Mr. Arlinghouse is here at the caucus meeting. Is there any further discussion on this?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I've done quite a bit of research the last few days, and the interlocal agreement that we had back in 1983 is much differently than the ones that we will be having this year. In fact, I went on to Biden's budget, lowering house costs and expands access to affordable rent and housing, home ownership. There's a lot of what I call devil in the details information that we're very much not aware of. But the amount of money that Mr. Biden has put is like 175 billion greater than. I didn't get a whole lot of done that I wanted to, but I do have a small piece that I would like to read. Okay.
Please.
This is the Housing Authority of Covington, which is the HAC. Steve Arlinghouse is requesting complete control of all city housing choices. Wow, help me get this correct. House choice vouchers, I've been working on those. It is concerning since Steve Arlinghouse has complete control of the federal HUD program as administered to Crescent Springs. Covington's goal is to move all Section 8 housing out of Covington to the suburbs. Covington will need to change, will need to clean up and move properties for the development of the BS Bridge high-rise buildings for the prospective wealthy tenants. The Covington River front, which is 23 acres of $100 million, $150 million, to make the former IRS the new home of the Chase Law School and the UK Medical School in the master plan. Covington is what we call known as the Field of Dreams, has been deemed as a gigantic, important development of the metro region, as well as well-meaning plans of men come to the reality of those unintended consequences. The Public Housing Authority must find homes, apartments, and dwellings for the reality of those unintended consequences. Those homes, apartments, and dwellings are those in need of shelter and the opportunity to live the American dream. while housing Biden's advocates applauded 175+ billion would be the largest ever increase in funding. The decision underscores the central problem with shortages of affordable housing units. Therefore, the Housing Choice Voucher Program comes to the rescue. The Housing Choice Voucher Program gives the prospective home buyer or the apartment dweller the freedom to choose the best kind of housing and location that meets their needs. Private property is a tenet of the Constitution. So these people could go into any city in any area and say, I would like to live there, and the federal government would back up the subsidies of the housing. That's subsidy finance. I'm not quite that real about it or know how that actually works, but the subsidizing is like, I think they pay 30%, and the federal government will pay the rest. But I think this is a tenet of the Constitution that we have private property. We are based on property rights and ownerships. And also what I have read too, that there were the prospective landlords will lose a lot of their property rights and could face jail time if they deny Section 8 housing tenants.
I'm curious, Ms. Smith, is that something you wrote yourself, or did that come from some other source?
These were things that I have actually had documentation to pull on, because I do have the fact sheet here of Biden's. This is not something that I just made up. This is the reality. I can document everything.
I was just curious if it was
Yes, and absolutely.
someone else's document or yours, that's all I was asking.
Yeah, and I've got several that I looked at today, housing choice vouchers, what they entail. And I went through quite a few, but my concern is that you will, in fact, there was one example where this individual wanted a house with 6 bedrooms, and they didn't find it, they had to pay for it. So I guess I'm concerned about the property rights of our people and of our landlords.
Can I speak as a landlord?
Sure.
I own rental property all around Kent County. Well, I don't have that many, so I'm sorry. It is not the housing authority coming in, or choice voucher program coming in and telling me that I have to be a part of it. It is a conscious choice. It is a business decision for somebody like me or another landlord, private landlord, to enter into the program. Once you say that you have property at at 123 Main Street in whatever city is participating, then you are put on a list. The list is then given to the prospective tenants that are in the program that meet the qualifications. Then they reach out to the landlord and say, hey, I want to come take a look at 123 Main Street. There is nobody coming to take anybody's property. And this is a program that I've looked into potentially being a part of. There are a couple things about it that I don't like. There's not a whole lot of landlord remediation if anything goes awry, if any of it happens. So it was a business decision for me not to enter into it. The fact of the matter is that in the city of Crescent Springs, there's 66 houses already, or 66 units already. By not entering, or not renewing, or not coming to an agreement of this, that program in Crescent Springs ends. Those 66 families are then displaced because there's no longer a subsidy. That is not something at this point that I would be in favor of. In fact, just looking at the city of Crescent Springs, 43% of all of our residents are renters, and that's based upon the 2021 census. Affordable housing, as you mentioned, is 30% of gross income for all gross living expenses. Our median household income is $72,375, or $18,0938 a month for housing. $250,000 home is the median price, again, per census, coming out today at 3% down at $2,064. So we may or may not have an affordable housing issue, but this agreement and re-upping the agreement does not change, does not promote, does not, and it continues the program for the families that are already there. So
have a question. How many cities are involved in Canton County are part of this program? When, on this 1983 was like 41 years ago, and there was Crescent Springs and Fort Wright. Whom have we picked up since then?
I would say the majority of them, but I don't have that list in front of me.
Yeah, I would like to.
Based on Mr. Arlinghouse at the caucus.
And I've not been able, I haven't had the time or the opportunity or the, to be able to find out exactly what cities. And I was hoping that I could get a hold of Mr. Arlinghouse and speak to him later.
You certainly,
I would like to do that.
you certainly can.
You know, meet with Mr. Arlinghouse and make sure that we're crystal clear as to what we're getting involved in. Because the interlocal agreement in 1983 is much differently than the one in 2024.
Different in what regard?
Please?
In what regard is it different?
Well, if you want to read some of my articles, I'll send you the documentation. You can read it. How
I
about
think he
that?
was just asking for a summary of.
Just what's the main difference?
You would like a summary of what?
I would just like to know the main difference that you're describing. Can you just articulate it?
Well, I think we could do that in a private committee meeting. We could do that and get together, work on the committee. I'd be glad to be a part of that committee. We could work through this.
We'll see how the, you know, I'm certainly open to possibly starting a committee, however, you know, we'll see how this goes.
I would like to do that and have a committee and meet to see that we can look out the good, the bad. I know there's some good issues to this, but there's some that are very concerning.
So what happens to the 66 families in the meantime?
I'm not throwing anybody out of their homes. That's not the point. The point of this was just to give information as to where things are standing and the issues that were, it's so much differently from 1983. Bernie Mormon was the mayor of Covington.
So do you,
I think the problem I have with this order is we've got 66, Bill Hills has one. I don't understand, it doesn't seem like it's a equal disbursement among the cities in Kent County.
Well, it all depends on what landlords will allow the voucher program. If the landlord doesn't allow it, it's, you know, up to them to allow it. It's not, the city doesn't say you have to have this many or you can't have this many. It's up to the individual landlord. It's as Councilmember Bryan said, it's a business decision.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna vote no, just because I think it's kind of ridiculous to call something housing affordability, but then what it really does is create higher rent amounts subsidized by federal taxpayer money. And if anyone wants to accuse me of being against affordable housing, I would literally vote today to eliminate every zoning requirement in the city. We could actually have affordable housing by allowing more housing to be built. But I'm not going to vote for a bill that ultimately what it does is it takes money from federal taxpayers and puts it in the landlord's pockets and keeps rents higher. So I'm going to vote no for that simple reason. And again, I would love to take steps to increase the supply of houses in Crescent Springs so we can actually bring rent prices in instead of just propping up the tax money.
it's definitely a double-edged sword. I mean, yeah, sure. The other side of that too is that it also forces documented landlord income too. And it also forces standards, it also forces inspections, and it also does give a little bit of a hand up, if you will. It definitely has its flaws, and it definitely has its advantages, but it is, I mean, candidly, it's not a program that my rental units participate in. Again, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like the ambiguity in some of the things that I read, and I didn't like how there was a lack of flexibility. If, you know, something happens to a tenant, they go to jail. You find out that there's, you know, breaking terms, you know, just different things. And I mean, there are pretty good people in every program, but yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword. It's not a sweetheart program.
I have concerns with it. We're not a very large city, and prior to I myself even being on council, there was a apartment complex that was built. The city was duped into believing that it was gonna be for veterans, and it was not. When you did a little bit of research, You could see where Kentucky Housing was involved in the financing of it, which added people to this program, which is fine. I'm not looking to put the 66 people out either. I myself lived in housing for 4 years. It's needed for people. But I think there's a point where you reach a concentration level where there's enough.
Yeah.
Where there's enough. Because I think it hurts the property owners that aren't renting, they're owner occupied. My question is if we, there's a couple different ways we could go with this, but if we vote no on this right now, what does happen to those 66 people? What are the other options, if anything? And if we don't vote no on it and you table it, it's the same question. How long does it take for this to go into effect before it's gonna affect those 66 units? Do we have the time for a little more research? Yes, he came in and he gave a nice presentation, but nobody had the time to really think what questions to ask.
Mr. Daly, can you communicate with
Yes, sir.
Mr. Arlinghouse
Yes.
on some of these issues?
And I think to reiterate, I would like to know how many cities are involved in this interlocal agreement, whereas originally in 1983, there were 2.
I don't have the exact answer, but looking on their website, it says that it administers 1,200 vouchers across Kenton County. And it says can be used anywhere in Kenton County, so I don't know if that's hyperbole, but, 1,200. So that's all, I wasn't looking for the answer, but I don't see a city list.
I think the best thing to do right now is to have a committee and have a meeting with Mr. Arlinghouse to answer these unanswered questions that we do have before we enter into this interlocal agreement.
Respectfully, I think the answers can be an email.
We're gonna have Mr. Daly first reach out to him, get some answers, see how that goes, and then if we need to form a committee, we can.
Can I ask Councilmember Smith, where did you get the information on Covington wanting to eliminate their Section 8 programs or to push them out of Covington?
Well, there were some excellent articles within local news. I document everything that I say.
I'm just asking where it came from.
It took, there's a lot to read. There's many articles. I suggest you go on link and pick them up and link to whatever you need to read, and see what you can take with it. It's a lot of information. And Covington is going to move these, I talked to Mr. Arlinghouse, I can't speak for him, but I did talk to him, and I said, because there's a place called City Heights. I don't think we need to go into details here, but we can discuss that later.
They moved into, a lot of them moved into the apartment complex I'm talking about, because they're working on closing City Heights. I know very much about them.
City Heights is one of them.
City Heights is one of the subsidized housing projects in the city of Covington.
And
They sit up on a hill.
And developers are waiting in line to get that property because it's the best view in Kenton County.
So we've read the order. I either need a motion to approve or a motion to table, or it just dies for lack of
I
motion.
move to table it or to let it die.
I second that.
Which one?
Which one we gonna go for? Die, let it die?
That,
Die. We'll go with
so
die.
if there's, you don't make a motion to let it die,
We can't?
it just dies because there's no motion.
Okay, well, it'll die because there's no motion then. What works? for
Unless
you?
somebody makes the motion.
I'll make a motion to table for 1 month.
Second.
Any additional discussion?
I'll probably vote yes to the table to see what happens to these 66 families.
One of my questions would be if Mr. Arlinghouse's organization doesn't handle it, who does? Because we're certainly not equipped to become a housing program in Crescent Springs.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, because we can't, it's just not gonna be operated inside of the city. I mean, there's just not
And
gonna
if
be.
there's 66 units, you need someone that will operate it.
So to make sure I get all the questions right, if this council could please email me your questions. I don't want to get any of them wrong, and I'll be sending a call Steve up, and just try and meet with him in person.
I already sent mine to Steve directly, just checking. I do not do that. I learned my lesson.
You
can.
No, I will not. I will not.
We do have a motion and a second to table to table the municipal order
For 1 month.
for 1 month. Call the roll, please.
Carol McGowan,
Yes.
Bill
Okay,
Schultz,
vote.
Yes.
Don Kylie,
Yes.
Brian Barclay,
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith,
Yes.
Mark Wittenberger.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Municipal Order 2024-8, authorizing installation of a bench by the Sons of the American Revolution.
Thank you. Municipal Order 2024-8. Municipal Order of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, authorizing the installation of a park bench by the Sons of the American Revolution in the Lou Hartfield Memorial Park, and further authorizing the mayor to sign necessary documents regarding the placement of said park bench. Whereas the Sons of American Revolution have requested from the city authority to install a park bench in a specified location in the Lou Hartfield Memorial Park, and whereas City Council believes the placement of a park bench in the Lou Hartfield Memorial Park would complement other plaques and memorials erected, and whereas the mayor may need to execute by the Sons of the American Revolution to further the installation and placement of the aforesaid park bench.
Now we'll research the dimensions, Mayor, get my pry on my ass.
Any other discussion?
Sorry, if I didn't hear it, can we add into it that there's no cost to the city? That the city will incur no costs?
Anything else? If so, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll take the motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Carol McGowan,
Yes.
Bill Schultz,
Yes.
Don Kylie,
Yes.
Brian Barclay,
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith,
Yes.
Mark Wittenberger.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The other item on the agenda, Municipal Order 2024-9. We have a last minute snag, so that will not be read this evening. Anyone have any new business? Any committee reports?
I got a few since Chief Hall's not here.
Okay.
So the KLC audit was conducted back in February, for the police department. They received 100%, which is the first time in Village Police Department history. So congratulations on that.
Job well done, absolutely.
All four of the new Dodge Durangos have been upfitted and are on the road. And I think we already discussed, the Armed Forces run has been canceled. However, the Fisher Family Memorial Run will take place on June 22nd from 8 to 10, and we'll start and end at Little Madonna School. Something that,
No, I'm looking at what you're looking at.
Oh,
You're doing
okay.
good.
yeah, I think those are the high points there, so.
And Buttermilk wins again for accidents. Buttermilk is always the winner.
Except last month.
That's true, Anderson deal.
Anything else?
I'm thinking,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
this is in the county. It's the property, the blighted property of 2003 Amsterdam. And I won't mention names, but I am making movement on that as a citizen of Crescent Springs. It is an incorporated piece of property. It has been there for 20 years, falling in disarray. And we are making movement on it, and I am getting weekly updates on how things are moving. It might take a while, but at least, praise the Lord, hopefully that will be taken down.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Barkley.
Back to the safety committee report. Is there any chance of looking at moving the speed sign that's on Western Reserve instead of the hill, maybe onto Woodhill? Woodhill just has that blind corner and kids that run back and forth and people do speed through there. Can we look at maybe being a,
We can discuss it, yeah.
yeah, and
Well,
if it's
we might
too-
need to.
yeah, we might need to. I mean, I just think that
They're
more
solar powered, so they can be, right, Tanya? They're solar powered,
Yes, they
speed
are.
signs?
Well, they have batteries in them as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we own two?
We have one on Rosewood and one on Western Reserve, which we're gonna move to, in the crossings.
Well, that's,
We own two, okay.
well, that's what I was just asking, is the more immediate need on Woodhill or on that valley hill? I know that speeds get higher in that valley, but it's woods on both sides. So just take another look at where the more
I think we
immediate.
could probably put them both places.
Are
We
we,
require another one.
And we necessarily don't have to go with the same product as well. There's many new ideas out there
Yeah.
for this that even are smaller, but still get the point across, plus actually do the study and the reading for you.
So, yeah, I was gonna say, I have to get with Chief Hall to make sure that, because it all goes to him, all the data goes to him, so I'll definitely get with him and talk to him about it.
if we, I mean, if that sign that's on Western Reserve is the one that's being moved, and then that's already earmarked for that valley, then can we bring up Woodhill safety as a general topic?
Yep.
Okay,
We'll bring it to our next meeting.
Not to go back to the housing topic, but if I could ask Mr. Baker a question about a future ordinance related to it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Baker, just trying to think ahead and be proactive. We could do a municipal order if we wanted to, that allowed for the mayor to enter into this interlocal agreement with the Housing Authority of Covington, but then also put an expiration on it. Like, I'm thinking ahead, like, if we decide we don't want to do it, we don't put the 66 families in the street, say, okay, it expires on January 1, 2025 or something. We could do that as a council, right? Ask that the interlocal agreement be, have a termination date.
Make that a,
It's really be a request to
in the
Mr. Arlington.
agreement itself.
It'd be a request to Mr. Arlington, okay, so I'm just thinking, the way to do that, is put a term date on it, so it's not like overnight, these section 8 ends in the city, would be to ask them to change the agreement to put a termination date on it.
The interlocal agreement the draft agreement has a term of 1 year until terminated,
Right.
so it's already there.
Yeah, right. But I guess I'd worry that like
It gets lost to the agent.
11 months later, we do the same thing, we feel bad again for, yeah.
But, I mean, it is there, so
Right.
we wouldn't need it, yeah, so.
I guess you're saying the way to functionally do it would be enter into it and then the next meeting, 1 month later, say, we're not gonna re-up, so there's 11 months left or something like that.
If the program was ending tonight at midnight, yes, but we don't know, we don't have that data, so, right, yeah, I mean, it's 1 year, I mean, how many city contracts there, annual and then renewed automatically if not canceled, right?
Well, then we just change the 1 year to December 31st of the year,
Right.
if that's what you're trying to do.
Well, then we would have to vote on it every single time, right? So,
Thanks.
Yeah, I was just thinking ahead of how we could, if we do want to end this, whether it's the next meeting or give it a year.
I'll review the agreement again, see if there's some wording that could be suggested to Mr. Arlington.
Yeah.
That would be acceptable. I'm thinking more of fiscal year than calendar year, from fiscal year to fiscal year, but I'll certainly look at it, talk to Mike further about it.
Anything else? Any citizens' comments?
I just had a couple quick questions.
You want just a minute? Go.
I think that's all I need, hopefully. Jeff Smith, Crescent Springs, over on Harris Avenue. I did meet with Sanitation District Board of Directors this past week regarding the Panera Pond. It's supposed to be a detention pond, but it's a retention pond now. But regarding that, they actually said that they would have the workers go back and went back with the owners and look at that, possibly get that going back to a detention pond.
Okay.
Anyhow, while I was down there, I also spoke to him about the mass of water that's been coming down across my neighbor and my property with all the new development of the Panera, Taco Bell, AutoZone, Sherwin-Williams, and I think there's 5 apartment complexes back there. And they said that they had like a 3-way matching program that the homeowners, the sanitation, and the cities could potentially work to maybe resolve that erosion problem. So they said maybe get with the, or they said to get with the city and see if they could initiate the process, maybe get a meeting together where we could all work out, possibly, you know, looking into this issue.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
Mr. Daly, can you take care of that?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Contact
it.
information.
And I know you was talking about putting in potential catch basins on the new road when they put that in, so maybe we could get this all tied in together possibly. And then one other quick thing, I know Brian spoke about the meetings with the fire authority, and I know I don't want to keep pressing on this, but I do think this is highly, to me, it's something that's should be done. The fire authority receives millions of taxpayer money through 2 different cities, of course, and I think that their meetings should be at the minimum posted on Facebook. And I know Brian has spoke about, you know, different avenues where they could do that and the cost, but Facebook is free, it don't cost nothing to do that, and I know they already have a domain there to begin with, so I would just ask that the city officials would press them that they would, you know, advertise at least those meetings on Facebook anyhow.
Advertise the scheduled meetings?
No, just the actual meetings while they're taking place, just like we are here now, right now.
Sure, and I get that Facebook's free, I think that we've beaten that horse. However, that gentleman right there is recording with that camera right there, putting it on the free app, but that is an incurred cost to have somebody doing that. So that's where the cost comes in, not the cost of the app itself. So if we were to do that, or to wire.
You talking about with Facebook specifically?
Facebook, YouTube, name an online platform that's free for the user, streaming to it and getting the feed to it is where the incurred cost is.
See, I don't understand all that, but I'm just saying, you know, our church does it. They broadcast it on Facebook just through a phone, and bam, it don't cost nothing. So I don't understand with incurring any costs that are associated with Facebook anyhow.
Okay, so that gentleman right there is a perfect example. His company is contracted to broadcast our meetings specifically to Facebook.
Okay?
That's a cost of
But you're just paying them to do
$900
it,
for 2
correct?
months.
Yes, you're right. He's just paying, we're just paying.
Just paying him to do it correctly. I mean, why couldn't you just set up a phone and, you know, on a tripod and do it simply like we do it? No big deal. And I don't wanna press it, I just wanna leave it at that. I don't wanna go over your 2 minutes. But I just wanna,
We'll
you know,
make a note that it was discussed again, and
appreciate it, brother, thank you.
thank you.
Hey, appreciate it.
And one quick thing, I have one question. By chance, do you have any pictures that you've taken over the years?
Yes, I've got
Can you
a
please
slew of
forward them to me?
Yeah, I've got a lot of video, but I have trouble getting them through to your all's websites. I mean, I can bring them up to you, maybe we could work on it or something.
We could figure something out, right, April?
Yes.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
No, no problem at all. And I do want to publicly thank April for all her diligence and all these, please. Oh, yeah, I got it down here, and Tanya. But I know April really puts, you know, through all the grants, and I just want to publicly say thank you, and I know the citizens appreciate your hard work. Thank you. As well as Tom.
Hearing nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
So a second? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Would you like to take a picture of these?
Thank you very much, folks.
Look up the